Let's have a conversation. Tell me what you think about the issues of the world. What kind of spice you wanna be? Tell me where you wanna travel. Do you believe in luxury? What's your hidden passion? What makes you so unique? Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and today we are on location at Dade Street Community Center talking to my very special guest, Dr. Kimball Thomas. Welcome, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you.
So you head up the TEMPO program.
That's correct.
And TEMPO stands for what?
Tallahassee Engaged in Meaningful Productivity for Opportunity Youth.
All right, and this program is under the City of Tallahassee's umbrella of services.
That's correct.
All right, and what prompted you to find this program or to start this program?
I was working on a local community partnership school project for the City Commission, and I noticed as I was going to different meetings, it didn't matter what time of day I went, I noticed the same people in the same place all the time. And even in evenings, they were still in the same place. I said, oh gosh, they did not move. So I began to, from that observation, collect empirical data by having conversations with them and find out what was going on in their lives. And I discovered that there was an age group from 16 to 24 who were not in school and not in the labor market. And to me, that's a recipe for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
And so I began to do some research on this issue and found out that there's actually a term for 16 to 24-year-olds who are not in school and not in the labor market, and they're called disconnected youth. I use opportunity youth because later research by a gentleman by the name of John Bridgeland, CEO of Civic Engineers, says when you see young people and they're walking down the street and they're not dressed like you and they don't act like you and they don't talk like you and they got a disposition about them that might be disconcerting to you, don't look at them as a problem, but look at them as an opportunity. So I came up with the opportunity youth part of that for TEMPO.
Okay, great. Now, before we delve more into TEMPO, tell me a little bit about your history.
Well, I'm a local person. I actually was born on FAMU's campus, and my parents relocated to land that my maternal grandparents had in Wakulla County, and I was reared in their school system and went to FAMU and got a bachelor's degree in education. Later got my master's degree, came back to FAMU and got a PhD in the first cohort group of the Ed Leadership in the College of Ed.
All right, Rattler.
Absolutely, we will strike again.
Yes. All right. And so you have a history of education.
Absolutely.
Educational leadership. You were principal at Rickards.
That's correct. I was principal at Rickards. If the million-dollar question, who was the sitting principal when Leon County got their first ever international baccalaureate program, you're looking at him. So I was part of getting the IB for Rickards, transformed the school in a lot of ways, and principal of FAMU High for a couple of years, and the principalship also in Gadsden County at East Gadsden for a couple of years.
All right, so education of youth is in your blood.
Absolutely.
Yes, that is your gift, that is your talent.
Absolutely.
Okay, so tell me about TEMPO. You mentioned a little more about TEMPO. You mentioned that 16 to 24 is a target age group.
That is correct.
And you know, what goes on such that these young people are not in anybody's school or not working, and how do you tap into them in terms of getting them to participate in the program?
Right, well, disconnected youth in its national norming definition says that we have far too many young people who drop out of school at an early age. Most of these are no longer participate in school, public schools, and usually are dropped out by 9th or 10th grade. So you have a collection, a cumulative period of time where you got these 16 to 24-year-olds, and all the national data tells us that they're subject to indices of crime, drug abuse and use, domestic abuse, and poverty. And so that's not a great recipe, and so this program is trying to redirect them and re-engage them in their lives.
Gotcha. Now, tell me about your success rate as it relates to Tempo. Well, and actually, I got a lot of questions. Before you do that, tell me when Tempo started and about your success rate.
Well, after I wrote the proposal for the city, we were looking at it as a public safety kind of initiative because we had far too many 18 to 24 years who were always showing up on the booking report for the Leon County Detention Center, being involved with drugs and crime in the community. And of course, the double whammy was that most of them was also high school dropouts when we looked at that data. So I wrote the initiative and started the groundwork in October of 2017 with an initial goal of 70 participants, and to date, 18 months later, 500.
Whoa. Wow, okay. So how does a young person come to get involved in Tempo?
Well, this has been a boots on the ground outreach program by yours truly. So I actually go up and down the streets, and I find young people
around this area.
Around this area, I've been down Dade, I've been down the D block, as we would say it. I've been in all sections. I targeted initially what we had designated as a promise zone area for the city of Tallahassee, and these are census tracts that the federal government says will have crime, poverty, and those things, and so we need to create more opportunity for young people and people that live in these promise zone areas. So I started with the 11 designated promise zone census tracts of Tallahassee, and my day was spent going up and down the streets, having conversation, getting out of the car, giving out a flyer with my phone number, and signing people up for the program.
Wow. Now, who do most of your students look like? What's a typical student?
Well,
the age?
The majority right now within the promise zone area are African American young people.
Is it mostly male, mostly female?
Mostly females.
Really?
Correct. And what happens, a phenomenon that happens with females that people don't calculate, a lot of them get pregnant and they drop out of school.
Gotcha.
So their numbers are rising more than a lot of the young men.
And how do you service those that have our mothers?
Right, in the infancy of the program, 18 months old, we're also working at expanding the program to try to provide daycare, get them on a Head Start list. See, can they find a good neighbor or a family member who can do child care for them at a minimal cost while they re-engage themselves back into school and work.
Okay. Are there any young adults that are ineligible for Tempo?
Not really. I mean, the age group is 16 to 24, so if you're over 25 years of age, but I don't turn my back on people.
Okay. That's a good thing. Now, what do they have to do? They have to apply?
They have to do an application, and we have a conversation about what your life has been like. We kind of do an inventory of your life. We have to know whether or not you've been in trouble with the law, because one of the main requirements for the program is that if you've been in trouble with the law, you don't get in any more trouble. You don't violate a parole. You don't recommit a crime. If you never committed a crime, you don't commit a crime. And so far, I have a 0% recidivism rate.
That's awesome. That's excellent.
By having conversation.
Yes.
And expectations.
Yes. Now, I'm sure that many of the young people look to you as a role model.
That's correct.
Or father figure. How do you navigate that?
Well, every day I show up for work, I remind myself that there's a young person in my program that's depending on me to do my job. They're depending on me to be an advocate for them. It stretches me at times because I'm up to 500 participants now. But at the same time, too, I understand that I have an obligation to them as they made an obligation to me. That I don't want to read bad things about them in the paper. I don't want them to read bad things about me. So I do as much life coaching and mentoring based on that premise as I possibly can.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
That is great. Now, as it relates to the program, is there a time frame in which, it's a 1 year, 2 year, or is it until they age out, or how does that work?
Well, that's an excellent question. As the program expands, we have a commitment from the city leadership and the commission that we will get case managers to help me with the workload, and that I want to put them through the 7 phases of case management, every individual. We want to start them with where we found them, building a relationship, building that trust, building that partnership, and looking at a goal for them, okay? So your goal is to get your GED, then what? Your goal is to get a living wage job, then what? And so we want to send everyone through those 7 phases of case management, and if it takes 2 or 3, 4 years, so be it. That's
great. It's great that you have that level of flexibility to work with them. Good deal. Wow. My mind's kind of blown by this, to be honest with you. What are some of the challenges that Tempo faces?
Well, consistency. I mean, we're looking at young people some were never traditional students. So you're asking them after 2 or 3 years of being out of school, not getting direct instruction, to all of a sudden pull themselves up by the bootstraps, get out to class on time, which we don't let them have an excuse for not having transportation, because we also provide them a free Star Metro bus pass to get to classes. And so to be consistent about going to class, all of a sudden now you got to start doing homework. It's a behavioral science to it as well. All of a sudden you've got to be able to tell your friend, no, I really can't do that this weekend. I have to study for a reading test. No, I'm sorry, but I'm working on something. I'm not following that path. And that takes time, and that takes, a human effort on behalf of people to understand that this is not going to happen overnight for everyone. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we allow them to stay in the program as long as they're doing what they need to do. They're staying out of trouble, and they've made a commitment to continue. They stay in the program.
What role does mental health and mental illness play in the students that you interact with?
That's an excellent question. I would probably calculate 1 out of every 5 people that I've encountered so far have some mental health challenges, and that's one thing that this program wants to do. We want to do wraparound services, and mental health will be a part of that, bringing in counselors, bringing in people to make some clinical decisions to help people get their lives together.
That's excellent. Now, what do you see the future of Tempo as being?
Well, I see, number one, there's never been anything quite like this in the city of Tallahassee, which I'm very proud to say. And writing that proposal and coming up with the acronym makes me, and the number of participants we have, I foresee we having a re-engagement center on the south side, particularly hopefully South City in that census tract. And we'll do all the wraparound services, and we also will do the educational pieces as well. I also want to be concerned about the early literacy of the participants that I have and the children that they have, so we can assist with maybe volunteer, pre-K or something of that sort to do early literacy, because the data still shows that for almost every person that probably has left school, as many people may call it dropout, you could probably track that all the way back to their 3rd grade literacy scores.
Wow, that is tremendous. All right, well, we are going to take a break right here.
Okay.
All right. Stay tuned for more conversations. Welcome back to Conversations with Nicole. If you're just joining us, I have been talking with the founder and director of the Tempo program, Dr. Kimball Thomas, which is through the City of Tallahassee's umbrella, but now I'm talking to one of the participants, Miss Cassandra Haynes. Welcome, Cassandra.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So tell me about Tempo. What was your experience like, or what has your experience been like with Tempo?
My experience with the Tempo program has been very much rewarding. I met Dr. Thomas back in last year, and he came into my job and was handing out his flyers for Tempo and was asking if I knew anybody that needed their education between the ages of 16 and 24. I told him me and my sister needed one, and he said that it was going to be free, so I didn't believe him because he was giving out free education.
Okay.
So I originally threw away his application.
Oh, no.
And he came back a couple days later and had me fill out one in front of him.
Okay.
So I got started in the program in December, and my goal was to finish by my birthday in April. So I worked and I went to school, and by April 23rd, I took my very last test, and it was math. And I was like, I have to pass because today's my birthday.
Wow.
And I went in and I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to do good because math was my worst subject. Mm-hmm. And I went in and I passed.
Congratulations.
So I called him and I was like, well, I passed. And he was like super excited. So I got to walk and graduate in May.
Okay.
And from there, it's been nothing but success.
Excellent. Now, how old were you at the time when you applied?
22,
Okay.
I think 22.
Okay, very good. Now, what has it meant to you to be involved in a program like this?
It's meant everything. Before I joined this program, I had no dreams of going back to school. I was just going to continue to work. I knew I needed something more, but I just didn't have the determination to do it. And having somebody that pushed you to do it kind of helped me more.
I'm sure it did. Now, what is your thought about Dr. Thomas?
He's an amazing person. He cares about his students, and there's so many things that could describe him. He's so determined in everything.
Okay. Now, there are other students in the program. Were you familiar with them? Did you know any of them?
No.
No, not really. Did you make some friends while you were in the program?
No.
No? Okay, and that's fine. Now, what are your hopes and dreams in terms of what you want to do for your future?
Well, in August, I'll be starting at Lively for a patient care technician. And if I go like I'm supposed to and go every day, I'll be done by January. And then I hope to get a job in the medical field.
Wow, outstanding.
Yes.
Did Temple help give you the
Yes.
drive?
Dr. Thomas actually set me up with Lively and got me in with an interview there to start my application process.
That's wonderful. Now, you are from the Tallahassee area, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And your family is here? You have?
Some of my family is in Georgia, but most here.
Okay. And your sister, you said?
She's here.
She's here. Okay. Is she still in the program?
She does hers online.
She does hers online?
Yes.
Okay. And what is she hoping to do in her future?
She's hoping to graduate soon, if not this year, then next year. And then she doesn't know what she wants to go to school for yet.
Okay. Now, would you recommend Tempo to anybody?
I would. Every time I meet somebody that doesn't have their education, I always tell them, you should join the Tempo. I actually have a friend and a sister that is going to be joining Tempo in the next couple of months.
Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. Now, in terms of, I guess, the things that you do within Tempo, can you tell me about some of the activities that you all do? Is there
It
something
helps you
else?
get a job also.
Okay.
You can it's called like a work program, and you can get it through Career Source, and they'll help you find a good job
Okay.
through them.
So Career Source is one of the partners that helps Tempo with the
Yes.
participants. Okay, very good. Now, I know Career Source does some work around interviewing skills and helping with resumes
Yes,
and
they
that
do.
sort of thing. So have you done any of that?
I built my resume with them, but I already had a job whenever I started.
Right. Okay, but resume writing, that's not an easy task.
It's not. I didn't know how to do any of that.
Good. So Tempo through Career Source helped you
Learn how to do a resume.
Right,
yes.
right. That's good. Any other skills that you're hoping to learn, as it relates to career building or anything like that?
Have
you done an interview before?
I have.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And you feel pretty confident with doing that?
Yeah, I
That's a
do.
good thing. Well, you interview well. You do. Now, as it relates to sharing the program, with others, is there any recommendation that you would tell them? Maybe if there's some students that may feel afraid or ashamed or.
I had a conversation with a guy actually the other day. He was 19 and he had dropped out of school when he was, I think he said 15, because he was in the streets or whatever. And I told him that the Tempo program would really help him. He gets a free education, he can stay out of trouble, and there's nothing to lose. As long as you're really determined, you'll be successful in this program.
Mm-hmm. Did he wind up joining?
He said that he was going to sign up, and I gave him the number, but I don't know if he did or not.
Okay, I think you may need to take Dr. Thomas down there, like he came to you and
Well,
made you fill out the
He was in my
application.
job, so I don't know his name or anything.
All right, well, I know Dr. Thomas is very determined and persistent to get
Yes.
students involved who, really need to get on board with getting ahead in life and not just wasting their time. Yeah.
Yes.
So is there any other words that you would give to, students that may be considering not doing the Tempo program and just, not going back to school, not working, just wanting to be out in the streets? Any words of wisdom that you would like to share with them?
I would just say, if you could get a free education and have somebody that really cares about you, just join it. There's nothing to lose. You're going to get everything successfully out of this program. And I didn't think I could do it. So anything is possible.
All right, very good. Well, I want to thank you for sharing your story with me today.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Stay tuned for more conversations. Welcome to the CWN Clean and Healthy Eating segment with Oneil Brown, the
fitness preacher.
All right, fitness preacher. So what's on the menu today?
I have my Lightning Smoothie.
Lightning
Oh
Smoothie.
yes, it's electrifying. It
Okay.
gives your body electricity.
All right. So what's in this lightning smoothie?
Well, the ingredients I have in there, I have sea moss.
Okay.
And sea moss right here has 92 of the 102 minerals that your body is supposed to have.
Okay, where can we get sea moss from?
Sea moss, you can get it from your local market, but it's very rare. You have to go to some Caribbean market, you know, because since we're from Jamaica, this is what we're accustomed to.
Okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay.
Coconut milk.
Coconut milk.
Coconut
okay.
milk. So I made this coconut milk from scratch.
It smells like
And it's
coconut.
very rich. And coconut milk is very alkaline for the
Okay,
body. And it's
okay.
good for your hair, good for your skin. Oh, I'm telling you, you could use the oil, you could cook with it. You could do a whole lot of things with your coconut.
Okay, so sea moss, coconut milk, and
Mango.
mango.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't it smell good?
I love mango.
Oh, man. Oh. Mango is a wonderful fruit.
So a whole mango. All right, and
Papaya.
papaya.
Papaya. I love
Yes.
the papaya.
Very tropically.
Yes.
And some
Maple syrup.
Okay.
Or if you don't have maple syrup, you can add some honey,
Honey.
or agave.
Agave. Okay. So you put that in the blender
Yes.
for a couple of minutes.
About 30 seconds.
Okay.
And in no time, boom. You know, you want to make sure you get that taste, that nice taste that you want. You don't want it to be too sweet because of the sweetness from the maple syrup.
Okay.
You got your papayas
your
already
papaya
sweet, your
and
mango
the-
already sweet, but you just want to, when you taste it, you just want to be like, man, I'm in heaven.
Okay. So this is the result of
Yes,
that.
it is.
This
It
is our lightning
Yes, indeed.
smoothie.
All
Okay.
right.
Cheers. Oh, that's really good.
I tell you.
Really good. No dairy.
No dairy whatsoever. No dairy at all.
Nice, nice. And what are some of the benefits of this drink?
This drink right here, because it has the minerals, all the 92 minerals from the sea moss, that is good for you. For those who have joints issue, by taking this on a daily basis and doing exercise, 30 minutes of daily exercise, getting proper rest, getting the healthy nutrition in, this will help with them. For those who have digestion issues, I recommend that they also add the sea moss to their diet. Yeah. And the mango and the papaya and the coconut milk.
And everything.
Everything,
so
yes.
5 ingredients.
Yes.
And you got your lightning smoothie.
Lightning smoothie that
Okay.
sends straight electricity to the body.
All right. Very good. Where can folks contact you? How can folks contact you?
Well, they could contact me through my email at obrown72@yahoo.com. You could find me on Facebook at obfit, or you could find me on Instagram, obfit_the fitness preacher.
All right. Well, thank you, fitness preacher. I appreciate this lightning smoothie. I'm going to be charged up for the rest of the day.
Oh, yes.
All right. Stay tuned for more conversations. Welcome back to Conversations with Nicole. We have been talking to Dr. Kimball Thomas and Cassandra Hayes of the Tempo program sponsored by the City of Tallahassee. So, Dr. Thomas, you talked about some of the future goals of Tempo. How can folks come to get involved with the Tempo program? How can they, reach out and connect with you?
Well, they can go to the City of Tallahassee's website and go online. They can even do an application to join the program online, or they can call 850 area code 891-8722 and leave a message, and we'll call them back. Or they can look at a flyer that's hopefully in their neighborhood and give that number again a call, and we'll be in contact with them.
Wonderful.
And the best thing they can do is tell their neighbor about us, tell their peer about us. Word of mouth travels much faster.
Indeed it does. Well, I appreciate you taking time to talk to me today. and to get the word out about this great program.
Absolutely, been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for joining us on Conversations with Nicole, where we're connecting the community through conversations. We will see you next time.
Conversation with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Conversations.